All right, for creating a more intricate design in 3D worlds, you have a couple options for the starting point. Right now I'm an illustrator and I can use my pen tool and I could create my design. So I started with some basic shapes. And I could use my pen tool and actually start creating the more intricate shapes I'm looking for. And it doesn't matter what I do, as long as I'm creating my design in here, I can then later take this file and save as an SVG. Okay? So let's call this base. So maybe I'm going to create stuff separately. This is the base plate of it, and I'll have more starting points to add on to the sides or the front. That's fine. The other option is to work in Photoshop. Now in Photoshop, I've already created a model, but what I did was I created my shape and I extruded it into a three-dimensional shape. So here I have my three-dimensional shape. How I did that is when you make a design on a new layer, it automatically is a flat design. So I'm just going to use this beautiful flower. Okay, so I can use a starting point, and then I take the layer and I could add more to it. As I had done in that one, I created a circle around it, or you could choose any shapes, patterns, all that jazz, customize as you wish, and you'll start to see all your stuff. But notice how they're all separate pieces and components. So you can resize as needed, you can move as needed, all that jazz. So it's up to you how things overlay and intersect. But you'll start to make your foundations. This one you're making your solid shape. The other one you were just creating a sketch point. The next step is to, when you have these shapes here, they're have this little error sign or box sign because they're not rasterized. So just control click and rasterize the layers. And then you have a 3D menu, which if you don't see, you just go to add a 3D layer for file. But the 3D menu or window 3D, you're able to create a 3D extrusion of your work. When I hit create, it converts it to a 3D layer like this. And I have a lot of menus now to work with. The first one is the extrusion depth. How actual size do I want it to extrude? Use this to be realistic. You don't want something 20 centimeters sticking out from your wrist. So find something that's reasonable for what you're looking for. And you're able to start creating more shapes, tampering. Explore these menus. They will modify some things the way you like, some you don't, but then there's the edit undo when you go through all these. So these are your properties for your 3D layer. As you select different things in here, you'll have more and more options. So currently I'm on shape 2, but I have the front inflation, the front bevel, the front extrusion. These are all different modifications. So if I want this to have a different extrusion than the other one, I'm able to affect one side over the other side. Your moving tools are right here if you need to orbit or pan. When you're done in this scene, you simply export it as. When you export as, you will get an option to save it as an object. No, not what I want. Sorry. To do file, save. Save as. Where's my OBJ? Sidetrack. Export 3D layer. Okay, so control click export 3D layer. Now I can choose the option to have an object or an STL. Up to you. I already have one as an object, so I'll show you the STL. But when you hit OK, it says where is it going, and then we'll call this flower. Voila. Now in 123D, I already brought in, this is the object I created in Photoshop that I already brought in. Each piece, since I export each layer in Photoshop, so I could make circle one layer, flower one layer, and then slowly convert them to 3D, slowly export them. This will give me a base point for slowly bringing each thing separate so that I can really customize each location as I work. And then I'm starting to actually create my pendant. So I'm actually starting to create my pendant. So I can move each piece individually. Reminder, always use that view cube because from one view it looks like it's centered and then you go somewhere else and it's not. But this will actually let you to slowly create your shape and your design as they all come together. Now, the other things we created, let's show you those. We also worked on creating SVGs in Illustrator. You get to choose if you want to bring it in as a sketch that you will later extrude or a solid. I'll show you both just so you can see what it is. So we created base SVG. It would look like this. This would allow me to extrude things at different heights, which sometimes is very helpful. So I can extrude that point there, and then I can take this point and I can extrude it further, and now you're going to get that geometrics you were looking for. Obviously it's not rounded right now, because if it was rounded I'd have to actually go in and take a side and create that fillet and start creating the roundness. So you can slowly go in and edit each piece, but that's if you bring it in as SVG separate. The other option is to bring it as a solid, and it extrudes the whole thing for you. So yes, it's done the step, but it might not have done the step correctly, so you'll have to later go in and modify each piece, which can sometimes be more work. Up to you, obviously, what you'd like to do. The other thing we created was the STL file. So if you need to import a model, you browse your computer, and this is where you'll get your flower that we created, and we made two different versions of it, the object and STL. All of these are fine to use. So when you import them, they bring in that file. Hello, flower. And there's that shape that we created. So the difference with the object and the STL is that it has more waveforms, which sometimes is great because it gives you more polygons to work with. But for me, I find that confusing. So the object also works for that. So that's the difference between the flower object and the flower STL. Ready? Flower fit. So there's that flower STL. So you will have to move, resize as needed to get them into your placement. So Photoshop, make your layer, go to your 3 menu, create your extrusion, and export the 3D layer as OBJ. Or go to Illustrator, create your full flat rendering sketch, save an STL, bring it into, oh, not that step yet. Bring it into 123D and start arranging your placements. Once you have all your placements the way you'd like them to be, there's an important step that needs to be done, and that is creating your place where the file will actually attach to it. So if this were to be like a necklace charm, you would need to have the little pendant hook at the top. So how you create that, super easy, but just takes an extra step, is you create a pen spline, and I'm going to do a straight line to start, double click to keep it straight, and then I'm going to create this wonderful charm. Beautiful, right? Obviously this is just a nice lace rough sketch, but you have this shape that will be the hook. You grab your offset tool, draw offset, you create a space inside of it. Of course it's too maddening, because some of it's curved and some of it's not. Thank you. In theory, that would work really great. Sorry. Side note, I'm just going to use a basic shape for this. It got confused when I clicked between curved and straight. So I'll just create a basic shape. Voila, voila, voila. Is this pretty basic? Yeah? Let's see if it likes it better. Hey, okay. Ugh, maddening. So now I have two shapes. Obviously, I only want that exterior one. Then I'm going to extrude the exterior. Extruder, there you are. I'm going to hide my sketches. I'm going to round this off to make it actually smooth. And so I'm going to grab every side and I'm going to fillet them around. So you're going to go around and do that to every side. But then that piece, now you can scale as needed, obviously, with the scale tool. If it's too large. But you have this hook that will be able to merge onto your shape and actually create that pendant attachment that you would need to create a charm. Again, make sure you're not just attaching things from one side. As much as it looks like you're close to something, you're easily not. So I find it really important to go around all sides. Make sure everything's good. Now, from here, when you think you're ready to print, this looks awesome, I'm happy, all that jazz, what you're going to do is you're going to export, you're going to send to Mesh Mixer. In Mesh Mixer, it's going to create like the replicator screen. The first thing that's really cool is this is how it would send to me. So if there's an error, you get to be the first one to check the error. Jaden, hold on a sec. So you're able to say, no, that was supposed to be here. So little things might fall out of place. And then I'm able to also select everything and shift and move to platform. Then I'm also able to rotate the whole thing because I think it will print easier. Oh, did not grab that charm. I want to do stuff. I'm gonna grab that. Hello, transform. Move together. Okay. Grab everything. Shift, 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 shift. I think it will print easier in this direction. Obviously, I'll make sure everything's right in a sec. But this will allow me to ensure that everything prints best. So from here, I now have everything kind of sitting on the platform plate. Everything's where it's supposed to be. I'm kind of prepped the file so I know that when the printer receives it, it makes sense. I'm going to add supports. And when I add supports, the printer kind of puts like pretend model beneath the flower as needed. And that will ensure that the printer actually has the best base file. So you might see them, you might not, depending on where your supports are needed. But now it's going to print much easier than standing up straight. I'm going to send that to the printers. Obviously, you're not connected to the 3D printer, so just hit Save File. But this will create that final file, and you will write final bracelet, or final charm, final whatever it may be, and save that. And that's the file you'll send to me. I hope that